In this video, we're gonna be going over the worst crashes involving Boeing aircraft, starting off with the least catastrophic crash on this list and progressively getting more deadly, with the last one claiming thousands of lives. One you've probably heard of. On March 10th, 2019, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 crashed shortly after takeoff from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. None of the 157 people on board, including 149 passengers and 8 crew members, survived the devastating accident. Investigations determined that the cause of the crash was directly related to a flawed sensor that triggered the aircraft's MCAS anti-stall system. This system kicked in and forced the plane's nose down repeatedly, despite the pilot's efforts trying to regain control of the aircraft. On October 29, 2018, another Boeing 737 MAX took off from Jakarta, Indonesia, carrying 189 passengers. The aircraft suffered a software malfunction and plunged into the Java Sea at over 500 miles per hour, leaving no survivors in the explosive impact. On May 25, 2002, China Airlines Flight 611 broke apart mid-air shortly after takeoff from Taipei. Improper repairs done over 20 years earlier had allowed metal fatigue cracks to gradually spread, leading to structural failure, recording a total of 225 casualties. July 17, 1996, TWA Flight 800 departed JFK Airport bound for Paris, but just 12 minutes after takeoff, vapors from a fuel tank had detonated, causing the mid-air breakup. On March 8, 2014, Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 departed from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, carrying 227 passengers and 12 crew members on board the Boeing 777-200ER. After 38 minutes, the plane vanished. The aircraft suddenly turned back across the Malay Peninsula, disappearing off radar screens as its transponders and communication systems were manually disabled. After what is now the most expensive search in aviation history, there is no record of a single survivor. On September 3rd, 1983, the Boeing 747 was shot down by Soviet Air Forces after a navigation error by the pilots. On December 21st, 1988, Pan Am Flight 103, a Boeing 747 carrying 259 people on board, took off from London Heathrow Airport en route to New York City. The Boeing 747 was blown into 1,000 pieces by a bomb hidden amongst personal belongings. The blast took lives of 259 people on board and an additional 11 innocent lives on the ground, totaling 270 casualties. The bombing stands as one of the deadliest attacks against American civilians until that time. On July 17, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, a Boeing 777-200ER carrying 283 passengers and 15 crew members from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur, was shot down by a surface-to-air missile over eastern Ukraine. It struck the aircraft at 33,000 feet, leaving no survivors as the 777 disintegrated. On June 23, 1985, Air India Flight 182 from Montreal to London took off carrying 329 passengers. A powerful explosion ripped apart the jumbo jet's cargo area at an altitude of 31,000 feet. On November 12, 1996, Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 763, a Boeing 747 departing from Delhi, India, collided mid-air with Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907, killing all 349 people on board both airplanes in one of India's worst civil aviation tragedy. The Saudi jet was traveling from Delhi to Dhahran, while the Kazakh plane just left Shymkent. The two aircraft collided at an altitude of 14,000 feet as a result of a confusion and miscommunication between air traffic controllers. The crash left no survivors. August 12, 1985, 12 minutes into the flight, a part of the tail broke off due to structural failure caused by poor maintenance after a tail strike. No one survived. In March 1977, an early morning fog led to a deadly runway accident at Los Rodeos Airport on the Spanish island of Tenerife between two Boeing 747 passenger jets. KLM Flight 4805 began takeoff without proper clearance, heading straight into the path of the Pan Am Flight 1736 at approximately 300 km an hour. A total of 583 casualties were recorded. The September 11 attacks are the deadliest incident involving Boeing aircraft by far, and the deadliest aviation tragedy in general. Two aircraft, American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175, crashed into both the north and south tower of World Trade Center following a hijacking, claiming over 2,700 lives. Then, about 30 minutes after the second tower was hit, a third plane, American Airlines Flight 77, hit the Pentagon, which is the headquarters of the US Department of Defense, killing 189 more people. A fourth plane, United Airlines Flight 93, was supposed to crash into the US Capitol building or the White House, but failed as it was stopped by passengers and crashed into a field in Pennsylvania, killing all 44 people on board and no one else. May the lives lost never be forgotten. And if you want to see the deadliest plane crashes, not only including Boeing, click here.